going to kill blockchain technology in the whole continent? I think they are. And also, we have a big bank backing USDC. Are we starting to see the adoption of a CBDC? I don't know. We're going to get into that as well. But before we do, it is time for us to look at the crypto markets. And we've been on a streak. We have been on a very long streak of just some really good days, green days. And it finally seems like things are starting to cool down. I was looking at the Ethereum daily chart, and it looks like our win streak might be coming to an end. Jayson Casper, I see you have this bright light, and you're going to shine the light on these candles. What is going on? We have 3 hours left for the daily. Is the winning streak over for Ethereum?
Well, I don't know if we can necessarily say that the winning streak is over for Ethereum in the long term, but we can see in the short term here that the daily time frame is getting a red dot on market Cipher B. But I do want to point out the fact that we have gotten this nice money flow crossover on the daily time frame. And this is no joke. When we get money flow crossing over on the daily time frame on market Cipher B, that usually signals a more macro uptrend. So right now, I'm thinking that we do need to retrace a little bit. I wouldn't call it the end of a winning streak, maybe for the daily candles, but we're coming down to some nice areas of support where honestly I'm hoping to find some support.
All right, that last big jump above the daily there, was that the run to 44? I think it was a little to the left of your screen.
Oh yeah,
is that
the
the
last
run up
time
to 40?
that we got that was the run up to right around 4,000 when we first got that money flow crossing over. Yeah, and you can see here too, like we get big pumps and then we'll get consolidations and retraces, and that's perfectly normal. That's healthy part of an uptrend.
No, I wanted to go up and to the right, infinity days in a row. I thought that was how it was supposed to work. But let's talk, a little inflation, and, maybe this is tying in to the Bitcoin price. So the Fed Reserve, they released the inflation gauge, and guess what? It's a 40-year high. Big surprise. Actually, the highest it's been since the early 80s. Wait a minute. I was born in the mid 80s. Does that mean I'm old? But yeah, it's up 6.4%. Yeah, it does. It jumped, 6% is the highest since 82. Consumer spending is down. We're closely watching the unemployment numbers. But yeah, yet again, another month, another record-breaking inflation. It doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon here. Now, Chainz, what is the odds that the Fed, they can, reel in this inflation without breaking the economy? Is that going to be possible here?
I mean, do you even trust anything that they say or do at this point? I know I certainly don't. I honestly have no faith that they could get a grips on inflation without destroying our economy first. I feel like it's going to be the bruise syndrome, right? It's got to get worse before it gets better. I don't see this being any different, honestly.
Okay. Now, Sin City, what do you think is going to happen if they decide to go up, instead of 25 basis points or the quarter of 1%? What if instead they double that and go up 50 basis points? I mean, is that going to, put a, I mean, is the sky going to start falling if they try to, decrease this at a higher rate?
Well, Jerome Powell was on record a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, where he was having a dinner and he was speaking, and he referenced that there's some inflation concerns. I don't know why it took him so long to figure this out, or at least see the gravity of it, but he mentioned that they're going to aggressively raise interest rates. So he's already hinting at it. We do have another 6 more Fed meetings to come. I think the next one will encompass 2 months in a row. So I could easily see, and I predict myself, that we're going to see a half basis point or 0.5% on this coming one. It's needed. I mean, we have inflation. These numbers are vastly undervalued for what they're supposedly supposed to be. They're now not even tracking the CPI anymore. They're tracking the PCE, which is a more favorable number. So that one doesn't account for gas and technology. So this is the number they're using. They don't want to. They're hiding behind the true numbers, which we are all familiar. The price of home is not up 6%. The price of gas is not up 6%, and just living day to day is way more expensive. So I think they're going to raise it. I think it's needed. If we got to take a little step back in the economy, I mean, how else are you going to put out a fire of 8% inflation plus, more than 8% inflation with a little squirt gun of inflation or a squirt gun of interest rate hike of 0.5% or even 0.7. There's no chance that you're going to be able to curtail that with the current schedule of 0.25 with the rate of inflation we have now.
Yeah, I agree. Now, CryptoBlood, I think Chainz and Sin City, they're kind of alluding to the fact that, they're fudging the numbers a little bit. Sin City is, they're not bringing up the CPI anymore. The recent, you're not really talking about the gasoline price, the car price, electronic price. They keep changing the metrics. Now they keep pushing it in a more favorable light. They've been doing this for decades at this point. Eventually, when will people wake up and, when will that straw break the camel's back and we say, no, hold up, what were we using in the 80s? What, we're 20% inflation? Right. I mean, can they do this for another 40 years? Can they do this for another 10 years? How long can they keep kicking down, this can down the road with the lies?
In a minute, the number is going to be zero because there are no more metrics in the equations to look at. It's just going to be
they're going to use it's the cost of air you breathe. Hey, that hasn't changed.
Exactly. Speaking of inflation, guys, my ego is highly inflated. You want to know why? Because CryptoBlood had a cameo on the new Netflix joint that just came out yesterday on the Quadrics CX. So I'm feeling kind of good right now. You guys go check it out. But they can try to continue to kick this bad boy around, and I think they're in the corner though, DZ. I think we're at the end of the road. They can no longer fool us. We all know what's going on. See, when that inflation really starts hitting us, and that's what's happening right now, it's the common people really see what's going on. So you can no longer manipulate and massage the narrative by changing these numbers, removing different metric points and adding different ones and all that. That stuff no longer works. I think more and more people are starting to see that, DZ. And yeah, we're at the tail end of this. I see us going lower, man. Like, I know Jayson is great on the TA. I think from a fundamental macro standpoint, the Fed is going to continue to raise interest rates, or those basis points. Another quarter basis point, I think, is coming this April. It may even be 50. So you're going to start to see these equity markets, these crypto markets, all start to roll over because they're all risk-on assets. So that's my take on it.
All right. Well, Jayson, you are the good TA guy. I wish we could have a chart of purchasing power of the dollar so you can tell us how badly it is going down and to the right.
It's down about 98% in the past 100 years.
I would call that a poop coin. Now, with Bitcoin, when there's, inflation sky high, usually that's seen as a bullish sentiment for Bitcoin. Do you think that's, affecting the charts whatsoever? I mean, we're down 2.5%, almost 3% today. Do you think we'd be down maybe even further if inflation was not as bad or worse?
Well, I do think, like what CryptoBlood was saying, if inflation starts to get out of hand, we are going to see these speculative assets drop in price because people are not going to be as interested in them. And it's very interesting because when we take a look at inflation, even though they're like saying it's much less serious than it is, I mean, they're not using the CPI, they're not calculating the cost of so many things, just like Sin City Crypto was saying, food, fuel, technologies. It's crazy, but they're at the same time telling us inflation is going to get worse. Bloomberg is saying that things are going to get much, much worse. The president of BlackRock investment firm is warning that we need to brace for serious food shortages and super high inflation, and that Americans are going to have to end up paying close to $6,000 more a year just for basic goods. And it's very interesting to watch this happen, especially those of us who are in the crypto space, because in the background of all this inflation, in my opinion, this is all by design, because we know there are certain agendas out there where they want everybody to live in this global technocracy where we'll own nothing and be happy about it. In the background of all this, people are introducing these bills for these CBDCs. People are pushing away, like some of the other things we're going to talk about on the show, from decentralized wallets where you don't need an identification. And the thing that really concerns me is that the average person is going to be put into a place where they're going to be begging for a solution. And now the solution comes in, it's going to be cryptocurrency, but it's going to be programmable currency where basically everything we do is going to be tied to the blockchain. if you don't toe the line, if you don't do the right thing, if you don't say the right things, they could turn off your money. They could put you in a geofence where you can only use your currency in a certain location. It could get pretty bad. And so personally, when it comes to the inflation in the Bitcoin price, I almost don't even necessarily care about the Bitcoin price at this point. I think we should be focusing on, instead of Bitcoin, we should be focusing on real corn. People need to get more self-sufficient, start producing your own food, getting together in your communities, your neighbors, like get together, start producing your own stuff, because that's the only way we're really going to be free from these kinds of things that are coming. This inflation is by design. They want to squeeze the people until literally we cannot do anything else but turn to them as our savior, you know?
Yeah, and I'm asking the chat, are they ready to eat their crickets? Hey, they got their cricket farm going, and they're ready to sleep in their pod. And yeah, so I mean, this is definitely not what we want to do in the future. All right, now let's talk a little European Union trying to kill blockchain. That is what it appears. They just try to approve a bill that takes aim at unhosted wallets. These are wallets that essentially you haven't done the KYC on. If you make a new MetaMask, this would count. So every new address on an exchange needs to have some sort of KYC component, a know your customer component. It barely passed 58 to 52, and there's still a couple steps before this does get enacted here. But let's see, Chainz, do you think that this is going to maybe, you know, trickle down into other countries, possibly America, if other countries see that, hey, I think we're able to sneak this legislation by, we make it confusing enough? Are you worried about this maybe making its way stateside?
You know, coming to the United States, I don't think so. I think it's going to take a lot of time. There's a lot of people who love their freedom and they love their privacy here. There are also a lot of sheep, so it all depends on, you know, the states and the legislatures and how people decide to vote. I really hope that, you know, we're seeing this in other smaller countries if it's going to pass before it comes here. I mean, this is like the antithesis of crypto, though. Giving them the control of what we can and can't do within the crypto ecosphere is literally against every moral and value of why we're here. Yeah. So with that being said, you know, your question of do I see it coming here anytime soon? I don't think so.
Okay.
I really don't. And I really hope not. I hope not.
All right. Now, you know, CryptoBlood, let's just play devil's advocate. Let's assume it does make its way here. Is the cat out of the bag already? Is the monkey out of the cage? I mean, are they actually able to do this? I know they can do it with the fiat on-ramps, off-ramps, but do you really see, you know, Uniswap, you know, trying to get KYC here? Do you really see, you know, KuCoin shutting down? Can that happen? I mean, how do you think this would play out if they did try to pass this in America?
Absolutely, it's coming. I think EU would be. It's fitting that they're jumping out there first. I think the United States will take a kind of background approach and wait and see how other countries and unions play this out before they make their move. But I think it's on the way. And, you know, I have to blame us, the crypto community, for really looking to them to be validated. You know, we always want more of Wall Street, more of the banks involved and all of this. And hey, if that's what you want, this is what you get, you know. So they're circling us. They're putting that ring fence around us. All those wallets that you own your keys to, and that's your cheese, you're going to be pretty much ostracized. You're not going to be able to get to those off ramps here in the United States. So I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I think it is a huge reason why we're seeing the drop in the markets today. It coincided perfectly, pretty much. I talked about that on my video today, so go check it out when you get done here. But yeah, it's coming to the United States, and it is going to be a step back, man. A couple of steps back, to be honest with you.
Yeah, step makes me want to listen to R. Kelly, except for the horrible tragedy. But
step in the name of crypto.
Make sure you hit that like button, by the way, before you check out. Yeah, all the links are going to be in the description. Check out all the channels. Make sure you sub to all the channels. And if you're not subbed to this one or NFT Alpha Show, make sure you're subbed to that as well. Now, Sin City Crypto, will the exchanges just kind of roll over and play dead here? Do you see, you know, all the exchanges, the Binance, the Geminis, are they just going to allow this to happen? The Krakens, the Coinbases, or are they going to fight this as well? Because I would assume this means, you know, lower revenue for these companies.
No, I don't see the exchanges playing ball with this. We've already seen pushback when it comes to the exchanges, when it comes to regulation. You had Binance clearly saying they're not going to start banning wallets in Russia for the simple fact that the U.S. doesn't want them to move money around. So as far as exchanges are concerned, I don't see it unless they're like ordered to do so, which I understand that's what what the bill or the proposal is for. My question is that if how are you supposed to regulate this? Like, my ideology is like good luck. Basically, how are you going to prevent a USB stick from plugging into your computer? So how are you going to regulate a decentralized wallet? I don't see much. I would see a lot of difficulty in executing that task. Now, as far as with the U.S., no concern at all. I mean, we got President crypto Joe Biden up in the house. I mean, he's extremely bullish on crypto as of lately. He had the executive order just over a week ago, basically directing all of his agencies to hey, embrace crypto, get behind it, and they see it as a technology of the future. So EU, you know what?
Come
Like, I
on,
don't know what
Sin
you're doing.
City.
You
Oh,
tried,
Sleepy Joe. He's not for
yeah,
crypto. Sleepy Joe ain't for
Aw.
crypto. Come on,
Hey
man.
man, he got into office by Sam Bankman-Fried. The boy was lined his pockets. Those suits got the velvet on the inside, and Sam Bankman-Fried put the stitching in there him damn self. So
Yeah, the inside of the suit's made with leg hair. Actually, that's a fun fact that no one knew there.
Kids
no
hair.
one knew
Oh
that.
my god, that's horrible.
I never said that. Now,
Okay, that's what he
Jayson,
said. I didn't say it.
are we going to see an increase in lobbying? On that note, with we got Joe Biden, their administration, they are kind of signaling they're moving towards a more favorable than a from the adversarial camp. So I mean, will this parlay out into look, we need to start getting serious about lobbying? We see what they're doing in Europe. We don't want that to happen in the States or other respective countries. Will crypto, is this maybe one of the moves that's going to get us to start uniting on a undivided front?
Well, I think I should let everyone know, first of all, that I have hairy legs. And
Me too.
Oh, nice.
Corn
I'll
Pop
show him
was a
next
bad
time,
dude.
guys.
Corn Pop, he was a real bad dude. He was a real bad dude. It's very interesting times, especially when we look at the commander-in-chief and how on the outside it does appear that they're behind this crypto technology very strongly, which is strange because it seems a few months ago they were pretty much against it. And honestly, that kind of makes me think that the regulations are going to come here, because there is no way there is no way that this government is going to be down for like crypto as we know it today to actually continue to be a thing. That's just totally antithetical to everything that they stand for. And I think the only hope right now is for people like the citizens. We still have a say, we still have a voice to take a stand and start doing things like using privacy coins, start to not use the exchanges that are going to be bowing down to the regulations that are coming in, because crypto will always be decentralized. Like what Sin City's saying, like good luck banning Bitcoin, right? Like every year China bans Bitcoin, right? Every year, and there's a dump and everyone's like, oh, it's because China banned Bitcoin. But we actually have to be proactive and start using the blockchains that actually give us that decentralization and the autonomy that we want. Because there's, even just Binance, like even in the past year, I used to be able to margin trade on Binance very easily. Then I had to use a VPN. Now they're so smart. I don't know how the heck they know if I try and go on Binance, even through a VPN, they somehow I get a knock on my door. There's a van outside with no windows and a guy, and it doesn't end well, man.
You hear the helicopters. Yeah, there's people rappelling inside. It's a whole bad thing.
A-team is
All right,
outside
well,
the window.
you brought up centralization, and that kind of takes us to our last subject here. We have a big bank backing USDC, BYN Mellon. I'm actually looking at the market caps of the top coins here. You can see USDC is the number 5 coin. 51 billion. It's bigger than Solana, bigger than XRP, bigger than Cardano. Of course, still smaller than Tether, but it has been catching up month after month. It just continues to catch up. And I think they printed 1 billion Tether just in the last day too. So USDC is making large strides. And now we have a bank trying to step in, actually centralizing, USDC even further. They want to serve as the primary custodian for the reserve assets. It's a mixture of US dollars, cash equivalents, and U.S. treasuries. So, probably dispel a little bit of the stablecoin FUD that we do see with Tether everything's going to be on the up and up with regulators here. So when they say stable coins are just backed by, nothing or Chinese commercial paper, USDC does seem to, be able to step forward and say, hey, not so much us here. Now, Casper, I'm a Tether guy. I'm a Tether guy because I like to get in and out of exchanges. Now, I know with you trading, USDT, depending on the exchange, you get a lot more trading pairs. I mean, do you ever, I know I've asked you this before, but this was in the past before we've seen these changes. Are we going to see that same adoption with USDC? And are you slightly worried about USDT pairs being taken away?
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing to ponder. I mean, obviously, the more that USDC becomes authoritative in the sense that we have huge banks supporting it, and it becomes more of like the official stable coin that's more trustworthy than Tether, we may see exchanges start to switch over, especially if there are more regulations coming into play. And in that case, it does concern me a little bit that we might start seeing those Tether pairs start to disappear. But, as it stands right now, I don't really think it makes much of a difference in the immediate future. But it is interesting to think that USDC could become the new digital currency for America. It's very interesting. If we see infrastructure being put in play right now where USDC starts to take over Tether, that is concerning because, then we have all these huge corporations and banks and organizations that are now, they have their tentacles in USDC, which will make it then very easy to regulate. So then perhaps traders like myself might be pushed out of a lot of exchanges, or may have to go other places, or may not even be able to do what we do anymore. So that does concern me a little bit, DZ.
All right. Now, Chainz, on that note, I mean, does it appear that we're going to be losing a little bit of the Wild West nature when it comes to stable coins? I mean, it does seem Tether just always has a target on his back, similar to China FUD. I would put China FUD up there almost as bad as, you see the Tether FUD every 6 months, every year. There's some Tether FUD. It's always dispelled. I mean, are we looking at the end of a Tether coin golden age?
Maybe. I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I don't think a lot of people here do. I mean, I get the point that you're making about having more trading pairs and stuff, but the writing has been on the wall for a long time, and we all know it. I mean, like you said, Jayson, it's more trustworthy. USDC is more trustworthy than Tether. We all know that. DZ, you said they printed $1 billion within the last 24 hours. I mean, that's not sustainable for the ecosystem. It's just not. And so to see, another stable coin like USDC or something else that may pop up over time really replace what we've got as Tether, I welcome it, honestly, and I hope that a lot of other people do in this space, because we do need things that are more trustworthy, things that people can use that can't be inflated. You can't just keep printing money. That's what the government does here in the United States, and we see, we talked about inflation and having to pay $6,000 worth of goods more additionally each year for a family. Like, that's what happens when you print. And if Tether keeps printing, they're going to print themselves out of existence. That's
real quick follow-up, JJ. Do you think that you lose a USDT pair, do you think they'll replace it with USDC?
I think if the exchange is smart enough, they would. I mean, on a decentralized exchange, I mean, who knows how they're going to handle that? But on any centralized exchange, I would hope that if we see like, okay, it's on its way out, let's delist this and put it back in USDC. I think that's the smart move, if you're running an operation.
All right. Now, Sin City Crypto, where do you see as, it looks like we have a little bit of a battle in the future. We're going to have CBDCs, but it seems like USDC could possibly trying to set themselves up as the CBDC. Do you think that's a likely scenario, or do you think the government's just going to want to go from the ground up, not, log on to an existing coin that does have trading pairs, that does have, liquidity and is on different exchanges?
Well, if the U.S. government, as an example, or just any government, goes with a dollar-backed stable coin, I think everybody assumes that it would be USDC. They're clearly the front runner. They seem to be a little bit more transparent. They don't have as much FUD as Tether, and Tether it does have a bad rap sheet. Doesn't have the greatest inception either. I mean, when it came into existence, there's a lot of question marks behind that as well. And then, for me, I like to look at what's the biggest exchange here in the U.S. It's Coinbase, and Coinbase favors the USDC trading pair. So even when you're first new to crypto, you get on, you see USDC is the first thing you're flashing in front of your face. But now what I'm curious here is not so much will USDC supplant Tether, but things are about to come untethered here when UST comes into the fold, because this thing has been making some strides, man. You're backing it by Bitcoin. The fundamentals, you know, they're going outside the box. And so for me, I think UST is going to steal the show maybe in about 5 years or so. But you know, it seems like Tether's losing his stride, and USDC is doing everything right. Oh, also, you know, that partnership with USDC with BYN Mellon is huge. So I don't think there's enough focus on that. BYN Mellon, one of the largest banking institutions out there, they also went in with Fireblocks. So if you're not familiar with Fireblocks, it's like a security chain that handles digital custody and moves it around. And with Fireblocks, the co-founder, Michael Shalou, he's going to be in Bitcoin Miami too. So I'm excited to go there, talk to him. But emerging space, USDC is on the come up, albeit with all eyes from the government on them. So.
Yeah, and Fireblocks, I believe, has an $8 billion valuation. So we're not talking about a small company here. Now, I kind of want to piggyback on that. CryptoBlood, do you see UST becoming the new USDT, kind of the degen's favorite, the crypto traders' favorite, you know, the rat in the basement's favorite? Is that where we see UST moving?
Nah, I don't know. It's too early to say. I mean, like Sin City said, it's great to see them, you know, kind of backing a little bit of it by Bitcoin. But let me just say this, man. The stablecoin game, I'm going to be the first to say this possibly on this show, Crypto Diamonds moment right here. You're going to see either USDT or USDC supplant Bitcoin as the #1 market cap coin. I would say in the next 2 years, I think even less than that. Yes.
Wow.
It is coming.
I can see it.
It is coming.
Man.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
If they purchase enough, what will be funny is they'll be worth more than Bitcoin with underlying assets being Bitcoin. So the higher Bitcoin goes up, you know, that portion of their holdings
I'm
will
just
continue
saying
to go
by
up.
market cap, you're going to have the stablecoin game is going to be bigger than Bitcoin's market cap very soon, because that's just the direction we're going.
Right.
But I will say this, like the governments, I don't think they're going to use stable coins that we have currently. They're going to use a proprietary system that they can control fully. A USDC or USDT, they run on Ethereum, they run on various other networks. They can't fully control those networks. So I think they're going to go with something proprietary, built off of the FedNow system that they're building. That's going to be rolling out, I think, later this year or next year. They're going to just put it on top of that system, in my opinion. So that's my two cents.
Didn't Ted Cruz just initiate? He came out and said, "Hey, we want to create a stable coin that's only for the government to use. We don't want any consumer activity in there to to keep what you just said there, Blood. Keep those, you know, the waters not muddied."
Yeah, that's the way they're gonna go. They need to have full autonomous control over it.
Yeah, and maybe even hide how much they're printing, much like
That
people would
too.
say Tether does. All right, well, that is all we have, and it looks like Sin City, you just stole it from the farmer man right there at the end. You started talking about that BYN Mellon, why it is so bullish, but go ahead, feel free, leave us with some parting thoughts. You are the winner.
All right. So, you know, we're pretty new up here. I just want to give a much love to Around the Blockchain, to BitBoy Crypto, and to DZ. Thank you so much for hosting us. I saw our community in the chat. We are one of the newest and youngest growing communities out there in YouTube that you're not subscribed to. We do a live show at 10:30 a.m. Vegas time. So make sure you come check us out. We got a co-host too. So it's not just me. We keep it fresh. We banter back and forth. So a lot of fun, but I'm excited to be here again. And CryptoBlood and Jayson and Chainz, thank you, man. It was good talking to you guys, man.
8 a.m. Vegas. I'm assuming they don't go to sleep and they're still up from the night before. I'm kidding.
No,
that is all we got
all.
time for today. Make sure you're sub to all the channels. Sub to all the channels you see here. Make sure you sub to NFT Alpha, Frankie Candles, Meta Money. That is all we got time for today, BitSquad. DZ out.
Holla.